Good morning, this is Melanie Dawn, and this is Dawn of Wisdom. It's Sunday. I'm heading home from a very cool weekend in Shaver Lake, California, where I hung out with my daughter, her significant other, my son, my daughter-in-law, my two grandchildren, friends of my son, and they all camped, and I stayed in Shaver Lake in a darling little hotel called the Shaver Lake Village Hotel with my boyfriend who came to visit, and we just had a wonderful time. We would go out during the day and camp with the kids and hang out with them. One night even stayed till late and had wonderful called, I forget what they were called, but bananas with chocolate and marshmallows wrapped in foil and over the fire. And it's like my daughter's very health conscious, and it's a healthier way to have like a s'more without the graham crackers. Very, very good. Very, very fun. Learned something new and had a blast. But this podcast is going to be very personal because I'm going to talk about something that happened. Sorry about that. Something that happened that is becoming clearer and clearer to me, and it's actually a beautiful thing, and I'm glad it happened. And it's all about, and I'm going to title this podcast about how your feelings are valid. All my life, my feelings were not valid. I felt they were, I was constantly questioning and blaming myself for having feelings about something. When I was sad, I guess I took on like a victim mentality, but I was very much blamed myself for everything. And I would turn it around and turn it into shame, and I would blame others, anything to take it away from my self-blame. And I did that most of my life, just self-blame. Anything that happened in my life, I blamed myself for. And I believe we have many awakenings. I believe once we become aware and take responsibility for ourselves, the awakenings start just happening. And I love them. I love triggers. I love to work with my shadows. I love the work that I have done on myself. But I still blame myself for a lot of things. That's one of my shadows. But it has become very clear to me in probably the last year or two that my feelings are valid, that I do have valid feelings, that I'm valued and I'm valued. My feelings mean something. They're not all, I'm not all wrong. My feelings are valued, and I have learned to appreciate and love myself enough to know that I have valid feelings, and I need to express them and do it without, blaming and taking responsibility, but knowing that they are valid. Yeah. And I had a situation at the campsite. We all met at the campsite. I was about 20 minutes from there, and I told everyone I'm going to go check into my hotel, and I'll be right back, and we'll do something or sit around or whatever you wanted to do. And I went and checked in, and when I came back, everybody was gone. And I just sat there, and my heart was broken. I couldn't grasp that they all left. They all went off to, hike, do whatever they were going to do, but nobody waited for me. Nobody. And my heart was broken, and I felt very valid. I was very hurt, and I wrote a little note, and that note had a little passive aggression in it. But part of my feelings were valid. They shouldn't have left. They should have They should have waited for me. I'm important enough to wait for before they went fishing, before they went hiking, before whatever they did. They should have waited for me. And that part of my reaction was valid. The part of feeling like I wanted to lash out, being angry, that was not. My way of handling it was valid for me. So I went back to my cabin and I just bawled. And I was so hurt. And I thought to myself, I'm worth waiting for. I am worth hanging out with. I am worth more than this. And it was valid. That part of it was valid. So I just cried. And then I just said to myself, I'm going to hang out with my boyfriend all weekend up in Shaver. And they can do their thing. And that's okay. And I'll be okay with it. Yes, I'm hurt. But that's what I'm going to do. Then I received a phone call from my daughter. The campsite that they're staying at has no Wi-Fi, no reception. If you need to make an emergency phone call, you have to go up to the office. And so she went up to the office. And the lady said, we can't let you use the phone because it's only for emergencies. And my daughter said, and this chokes me up, this is an emergency. Because to them, I was valid. My hurt was valid. So I receive a phone call. I don't know who it's from. And when I get a phone call like that, I answer, hi, this is Melanie. Or I reject the phone call. And it was my daughter and my daughter-in-law both telling me how sorry they were and how wrong it was for them not to leave me a note. And I cried. And I let out all my feelings. I told my daughter, I understand. I understand your feelings. I understand a lot of why we struggle. But these feelings were valid for me. I didn't deserve to be left. And, a lot of my hurt over this stuff comes from my childhood pain of being ignored and being left, but it intensified. I now know that I am valid. My feelings are valid. And my reaction is maybe not always, but some of those are valid. Those are valid fucking feelings that I'm having. And they said, if you don't come back, we're coming to you. And I went back. And we talked and I cried and I shared, and God, it was a beautiful weekend. I feel like it needed to happen. It needed to happen to bring my daughter and I closer. It needed to happen to talk about some things that needed to be talked about. I talked about my little note I left and the aggression behind it. And yeah, we worked it out. We needed to have a talk, and we had it. So I loved it. I loved every part of it. The weekend was great. It was nice being in a hotel. I could go to the campground during the day, go to the pools, have a blast with them, and then go home to my hotel. We had a very good time. And so I guess what I want to say is, you may not react in a way that is an adult, but your feelings have some value to them. They're valuable. You are a valuable, beautiful person, and you needed to be treated as such. And as long as you can put yourself in an adult perspective and you can understand it and you know where that hurt comes from, and you're honest and you know that your feelings are valid. We need to know that about ourselves. We need to know those feelings are valid. They may come from a hurtful place. Something in there is valid though, guys. And it's how we handle it. We have, me, I love inner child work. I am always trying to handle my shit in my adult chair. And if you know me, you know the whole adult chair concept. If you don't, please get on the podcast, The Adult Chair, even on YouTube. Michelle Chalfon, it's fabulous. So I believe I did react as a child. I was very, very hurt. I cried. I was crushed as a child would be crushed. I reacted as an adult. I wrote this little note, thanks a lot, and showed some passive aggression as my adolescence. And then as an adult, I know that my feelings were valid, and I needed to express those valid feelings, and it all just worked out beautiful. So this podcast was just a little personal, something about me. They all are, but something that happened over the weekend that I just think, I hope that I can share this with all of you and you identify. And it ended up ending in you know what? We're all adults and we all have valid feelings. And when you're feeling a certain way, trust yourself that there's a reason behind it. You can work it out. You can always work it out when it's handled as an adult, when it's talked out, when it's cried out. Yeah, when it's, I expressed anger or hurt. I expressed stuff and it was valid. It was the way I felt. And most of my life I've been all about selfish with my feelings, but taking everybody else's is so important. And that's another podcast that I'm going to do on how we think other people's feelings are more valid than ours. And they are valid, but ours are valid also. We need to know that. We need to respect ourselves enough, love ourselves enough to know that some of that is valid. It may not be liked. It may be something that needs to be worked out, and I'm all about rolling around and working it out. But your feelings are valid, people. I love you so much, and I want you all to know that. So contact me, nurse.mello, MELLO, at yahoo.com, or you can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram at Nurse Mello. And I'll talk to anybody about the adult chair because I love it. The inner child work is my jam, and I think everybody should do it. So heading home to the beautiful coast. I'm going to get over there, unpack, and then go on a long-ass walk and do some more work on me, because that's what I love to do. And so there you go. You guys have a great day.